Oh, people are gonna. I'm gonna make fun of my friend for this for a long time. I mean, I know they're investigating, but I'm sure that I'm sure they're the culprit. And they're so desperate to win, they have to cheat in preseason. In preseason, no wonder they won. I bet you if they didn't have a deflated football, they would have lost the game. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not even sure. But whatever. They're being investigated. But that's not what I'm here. That's not what I'm talking about today. I'm actually talking about Michigan football today. How each of our opponents compare to to our team, how good they are compared to us. So I'm gonna read it out of this exclusive magazine. I got this magazine in the mail from my grandma, and she actually bought this online from like MGO Blue or something, mgoblue.com, and I think that's what it is. And these are like limited edition things. They're only available for so long before you can't use them you can't get them anymore. So, and I'm not even sure. Maybe they're still available, but I wouldn't be too sure. I'm not really sure at this point. Ooh, I got to the right page. I'm gonna talk about what this magazine says for each of our teams, each of the teams we're facing, and how they compare to us. Let's take a look at our. I'm gonna read over the good and the bad news for each of the teams and how their offense and defense looks. So let's go over the first one. Of course, our first game is Notre Dame. Now it talks about their offense, their defense, how they look, basically. Um, and they have these things here. Uh, they've got four different faces. They've got angry Eduardo, Data, Memo, and Sad Josh. The angry Eduardo, it means that either the offense, it has a face by offense and defense. The angry Eduardo face is like a smiling devil. It's a red face and he's smiling like he's evil, meaning that offense or defense is a top 10 team on offense. They've got the Data, which is just a blank face, like he's just a normal looking face, which would mean that they are fine. They are a top 35 team. Memo is a sad face, basically. It's a green sad face. And they're projected mediocre, which is a top 75 unit. And then there's Sad Josh, which is just like a dead guy. He has his X's for eyes, and he's a gray face, and he has a tongue sticking out, as if they're really bad. It says it's bad, they're bad, really bad. So I'm gonna read over each team. So now that I've explained that, let's read the good news for Notre Dame. The good news for them is Notre Dame returns most of their defense and half of their offense. But the bad news is that they lost the parts that were good. So they lost all the good. They lost all the good parts, is what they're saying here. It goes over the last time we played them, which was 2014, and we lost 31-0, and it was in South Bend. So we're playing them again in South Bend, and hopefully it's different around this time. They gave the offense. They gave it a Data, which is a top 35. Fine, they're okay. They have a better rushing offense and a passing. On defense, it's another Data, top 35. Their rush defense is better than their pass defense. It says their offense. It says Wimbush's legs are dangerous. His arm, not so much. So he's more of a scrambler, I would say. Brandon Wimbush, the Notre Dame quarterback. And the defense, simple and efficient, was a big improvement from 2016, which we all know what happened in 2016 in Notre Dame. They just had an awful year, which I hope happens again, but it probably won't. So they've got both serious faces, top 35 on offense and defense. So that's how they look right now. Moving on to Western Michigan. The next game, our second game. The good news. The Western Michigan pass defense surprisingly rose 30 spots in the S&P Plus In its first year under defensive coordinator Tim Daost, even though only one regular made it through all 12 games unscathed. The bad news, the pass offense, on the other hand, less surprisingly fell 40 spots from 8th to 48th. While bolstered by hopefully healthy seasons from Wazink and Drake Harris, a player like Corey Davis isn't coming back around anytime soon. So they have the offense as sad as the memo face. It's the top 75 unit, and the defense is the same. They both have sad faces on offense and defense. So the offense, it says, passing game dropped off a cliff when they lost their QB, and the defense, aggressive fronts led to long downs, defensive back injuries led to conversions. So they don't end. It says here that their rush offense is better than their pass, and their pass defense is better than their rush defense. So they're better on rushing when it comes to offense, but they're better on pass when it comes to defense. Moving on to our third opponent here, Southern Methodist University. The good news is their offense, and the bad news is the defense. So that's it. That's all it says. They've got the serious face. They've got a normal face for offense, meaning a top 35 unit on offense. Defense is a sad Josh. It's got the dead guy on it, so probably under top 75. Their offense says Southern Methodist spent the last 3 years retooling for a Sonny Dykes style, while their defense, it says, what's the opposite of bend don't break? Break lots, break bad. It says here that their passing offense is better than the rush, although they are both pretty close. The pass is slightly better. And I would say the rush defense and pass defense are about the same. They're both really bad, but they're about the same. Let's move on to Nebraska. The good news, it happened. I don't know what that means, but the good news is it happened. Something happened. I don't know what happened. I don't know much about Nebraska. The bad news, but far too late to salvage the season. So, Nebraska doesn't look to be going anywhere this season. Their offense is a top 35 unit, while their defense is under top 75. They got the sad Josh. Their passing on offense is better than the rush, and their pass defense is better than the rush defense, but their pass defense is still really bad. The rush defense has a tiny dot here, so it means it's awful. The offense, it says Frost will speed that up, maybe saddled with a true freshman QB. The defense says the front seven can't get worse. The secondary absolutely could. Northwestern. The good news for Northwestern is Pat Fitzgerald last year fielded one of the best front sevens of his long career in Evanston, and most of those guys weren't even upperclassmen yet. The bad news is it'll be a long summer waiting for Thorson's knee to heal, and without their workhorse back or a credible backup QB, the fall could be much longer. They've got the sad face, the memo face for offense, meaning they would be a top 75 team, while their defense is a serious face, maybe a top 35. Their rushing offense is really bad, but it is better than their pass offense. On defense, their rush defense is really good, but their pass defense is not as good. The rush defense is better. The offense, it says Clayton Thorson's 2017 doesn't comp. Closest comp was 2017 Brandon Peters. The defense says graduated safeties were a big part of the solid run defense. So that's why they've got. That's why their rush defense is very high in yards per carry, and their TD rate. So, they've got a pretty good defense. They got a really bad offense. Maryland. Um, Good news, everyone but a first round receiver returns from an offense that dropped 51 at Texas before the breakout quarterback got hurt. The bad news is that receiver was half of the passing game. The quarterback's still hurt, his backup's still hurt too. And if that veteran line hasn't learned to pass pro by now, they are liable to get someone killed. So, the offense has a serious face, top 35, mainly because of their rush. They've got a very good rush offense, while their pass offense, I'm sorry, is very bad. Their rush and pass defense are about the same. They're both very bad. But they've got the serious face, top 35 for offense, and top 75, which is a sad face for defense. The offense says, remember they beat Texas before all the quarterbacks got hurt. So, before if they had their quarterbacks, I would say they're in a better spot offensively. Defense says transfers to the rescue. Anna Bonham back helps that pass rush. So they've got a bad defense. They got the sad face top 75 defense and a top 35 offense. Oh boy, Wisconsin. The good news, for the first time in the Christ era, the offense looked like its old self again and returns almost everyone, while the defense needs only a couple of corners and an end to remove the ceiling from an already inevitable Big Ten West championship. The bad news is replacing 80% of your secondary snaps is usually a bad sign, and that offense had to play a lot of Horningbrook roulette when it wasn't beating up on the mid majors of the dregs of the Big Ten West. So their offense is a top 35 team with I would say the rush and the pass being about the same, being pretty good. Their defense, on the other hand, is a uh, angry smiley face. Uh, Top 10 defense here for Wisconsin. The offense says found in offense by flinging footballs, Taylor, directly at defense. The defense says All American linebacker cloning operation raises ethical questions. So while the pass and rush looks pretty similar on the offensive side, the pass defense looks very good. And they need to the only thing they really need to work on is the third and long percentage. While their rush defense looks okay, but it is still enough to give them a top 10 defense here. All right, let's look at Michigan State. Next page, they go on and on and on and on about Wisconsin. The good news for Michigan State is nobody in the country likes Michigan State. That's good news for us. The bad news is that's the way they like it. Okay. They've got a top 35 offense, I would say. Top 10 defense, though. Got a very good defense. Not as good as Wisconsin or Michigan, but they're up there. They've got a dangerous defense. So, their offense says young unit spent the season on training wheels. Everyone returns. The defense says safeties lived on the edge. Big Ten QBs couldn't make them pay. So while it looks here, the pass offense does look a lot better because, of course, their quarterback is very good. Their rush doesn't look as good. It really doesn't look great at all, but they mainly score on the pass. So if they're going to be scoring, they are going to be throwing passes, which I would say is going to be kind of hard for them, considering Michigan's defense is one of the best in pass defense. All right. Penn State. The good news is most of the stars from last year's team are gone, including the best offensive coordinator in the country. Uh, bad news: Franklin's elite recruiting wasn't expected to start paying off until this year. I'm not sure if that's good news for them or not. Where is it? There it is. All right, so they're pretty just the same on both offense and defense. Top 35 unit. I would say not as good. I would say they're going to do worse than last year. It says the offense on the offense, Barkley and a master OC squeezed elite points out of a decent group. And the defense says experienced secondary graduated and did defensive tackles Cothran and Cothran. So on offense, they've got a better passing game than rushing. Although I would say their touchdown rate is better on rush. So defense, their pass defense looks better than their rush, I would say. And yeah, both top 35 on both sides. They're gonna be a decent team this year. I would say we can beat them. Poor Rutgers. The good news for them is that proving all the naysayers and disbelievers wrong. Rutgers did not, in fact, lose four Big Ten East games by a combined score of 224 to nothing. Again, the bad news was it was just 172 to 13. So a little improvement, but still not good. At least they scored points this time. Uh, Under top 75 for both offense and defense. They've got the said Josh or Joe or whatever it is, with their passing game on offense looking really bad. Says for the offense, added Shaneo's OC and BC's running back, lose Janarian Grant. The defense, it's a joke. The defense says, remember that day, Michigan's offensive line looked really good. So the rush looks slightly good. It looks okay, but it does look better than the pass offense. The pass offense looks really bad, and the biggest thing that they've got going for them on the pass, I would say, is their sack rate. So they get sacked a lot. um, their defense doesn't look any better really. Um, I would say their pass defense looks better than their rush. It's kind of hard to tell because they're both very small. But Rutgers is going to be our easiest game, I would say. Uh, they've both got under top 75. I would say above top 75 on offense and defense. They're Poor Rutgers is not going to do good at all this year. Indiana. I don't know what happened to this picture. It's like in black and white for some reason. But did I read the? I did. Okay. The good news for Indiana is Tom Allen inherited one of the worst defenses in the Power Five, molded those players into top 10 unit, and has had plenty of time to recruit and train whoever replaces them. The bad news, that's an awful lot of stars to replace from a top 10 defense. While the offense is now 2 years into a transition from Kevin Wilson to Mike DeBoard, you flew too close to the sun, IU. So their offense is a top 75 unit. It's got the sad face. While their defense is a top 35 unit with a serious face. Their offense says skill positions hit by transfers, another year removed from Wilson. Defense says longtime starters all graduated. Tom Allen recruits should be ready. So looking at their offense, their rush looks really bad. Their pass looks really bad. Their pass is slightly better, but they both look terrible right now. With their sack rate on offense being pretty big. Um, while their defense definitely looks better, it's not going to be too dangerous of a defense, so we shouldn't have to worry about them. Even though I think their defense will be better than our offense. Um, their pass defense looks better than their rush. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. I would say they're about the same, actually. So, top 75 unit on offense with a sad face, and a top 35 on defense with a serious face. Oh boy, Ohio State. The good news for Ohio State, more often than not, Urban has needed all the breaks to beat Michigan. The bad news, Ohio State gets all the breaks. So, looking at their offense and defense, offense is a top 10 team, defense is a top 10 team. Ohio State will be our hardest game this year, by far. While this is the only team we're facing with a top 10 unit, they are ranked number 2 in the preseason poll, right behind, I want to say, Alabama or Georgia. I can't remember which one is which. Uh, on offense, their rush and pass both look really good. I would say the rush is slightly better. Um, while their rush defense looks really good with the whole meter almost full. Um, but they're in the defense, it's pretty much the same thing. It's almost full, not quite, but almost. Offense, it says no more JT Barrett, but everyone else is back, and you saw the next. Defense says embarrassment of riches on the defensive line, athletes galore. So they got a good team. They got a really good team. I'm gonna go back to the very back of this page where it shows ours. Now I don't think it has a good and bad news for us anywhere. I'm trying to find it. No, we do not have a good and bad news, but they do have the little faces and the meters showing how good we're gonna look. Now, offense for us. The rush looks pretty good. The rush looks better than the pass by far. Our offense has a sad face, a worried looking face, kinda. While the defense has got, so we've got about a top 75 unit on offense with a top 10 defense, top 5 defense. The rush the meter's pretty full, while the passes looks really bad. On defense, the defense rush defense is really full, but the pass defense, the entire meter is full. So we're very, very, very dangerous on everything that has to do with our pass defense. So for any team that who is on offense that has a bad passing game, has a really bad passing game, it's going to be hard for those teams to beat us. It's going to be hard for them to score points, considering they will have a bad passing offense while we've got the best defense in the country. Really, with this defense, we can beat anybody. I would say we can beat anybody with this defense, but of course we need a better offense. But their offense says, one more time for those in the back. Let's find a tackle or two. And defense, it says one word: piranhas. So we're a team of piranhas on defense. So yeah, top 75 team on offense, and top 10 team on, or top, I would say probably the best, number 1 on defense. Because I haven't seen a team that's better than that yet. Even our defense looks better than Ohio State's. So, that's it for today. That was the preview for each team. Let me go over the schedule real quick first. So first we got Notre Dame on September 1st in South Bend. And we go back home for 3 straight games on September 8th against Western Michigan, on September 15th against Southern Methodist, and September 22nd against Nebraska. We go to Northwestern in a road game on September 29th against Northwestern. On October 6th, we go back home for Maryland, and on October 13th, we stay home for Wisconsin. We go to East Lansing for Michigan State on October 20th. We have our bye week on the 27th of October. On November 3rd, we play Penn State at home. We play on November 10th. We play Rutgers at Rutgers. We go back home for one more home game on October 17th against Indiana, and we go to Columbus against Ohio State on November 24th. And then I would say the Big Ten championship game is on like December 2nd or December 3rd. One of those two. I'm not sure this year. Just depends on what day it lays on. I'm sure it's a Saturday night. So that was the video for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you later.